Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another session of Research and Publication Ethics. And now we start with Lecture 7B, Unit 2, Scientific Conduct. And today we are going to discuss redundant publication. What is redundant publication? Duplicate and overlapping publication, slamming, slicing. Then we'll talk about selecting, reporting, and misrepresentation of data. So here you see what is this redundant publication. According to Springer, redundant publication, also described as Salami publishing, this refers to the situation that one study is split into several parts and submitted to the more journals. For example, आप लोग क्या करते हैं, एक आपने PhD किया, PhD में आपने you collected data, you use different tools. For example, you check the validity and reliability, then you go for analysis, which is factor analysis. Now what you do, you divide the whole, first reference sorry review of literature, then reliability, validity, then factor analysis. So what you did, you divided the whole PhD and get it published, but actually this is all about one PhD. So they say that if you do like this, it is called Salami publishing. So here you can see this refers to the situation that one full study is divided into several parts and submitted to two or more journals, or findings have been previously been published elsewhere without proper cross referencing, permission or justification, right? So self plagiarism is considered a form of redundant publication. So you are copying your work again and again. Secondly, the full paper you have divided into small part and send it for publication. So they say this is what it is called, slamy. Slamy means cut down your paper and get it published. It is also called a redundant publication. So it concerns recycling or borrowing content from previous work without citation. This practice is widespread and might be unintentional. So sometimes you feel that this is my own work. So because there will be no issue of plagiarism, there it is somewhere unintentional. It was not actually your intention to copy and paste. So transparency by the author on the use of previous published work usually provide the necessary information to make an assessment on whether it is deliberate or unintentional. It's not a deliberate. Actually, we generally don't do it, but sometimes unintentionally it happens. So it is called redundant publication or slimy publishing. Here you can see one video also. Let me show you. If there is no voice, don't worry, I will share with you. Let me show you. I hope voice would be there. Okay, so I hope now it is clear. You can see what is this Slamy publication, right? So this we have discussed. Let us move further. So if you want to know more about this Slamy or redundant publication, here you can see some text I have. You can see in future if you want to read more about it. And I hope these are few videos you can refer, and you can see that what is this Slamy publication. As they have mentioned, it's a kind of duplicate publication from same paper, right? You make some little bit changes and send it for publication. So they say ethically it's not good, right? So now, so after this, let us continue with what we were talking about: selective reporting and misrepresentation of data. So selecting reporting means that you disclose some information from your research, other information you are not disclosing, because it is not according to your what you called understanding or your perception, or as per the research other also feel that this is not like this, so you don't disclose that. So you report only the selective items which fit to your perception, right? Now this is really unethical, this is really wrong. As a researcher, because we already have discussed, you should not be biased. You cannot be biased person because you feel something then you write. Because researcher, what is the duty of researcher? Whatever data we collect as it is, we need to represent, right? You cannot misrepresent the data. You cannot be selective when you report the information or the facts. So let us continue, and let me show you one more video. Just skip it. And here you can see these red dots. This is something which is not acceptable, or generally people don't like it. So here you see study, when they send it for publication, they remove this red button, right? Red dot. you can see at the last it reduced totally, right? So this is what negative result basically. So we want positive result actually, but this is not fair because whatever outcome comes you need to show that. So let us continue. Okay, so now with this video, I think this is clear that when something, some result you come out with that is negative, so what you do? You want to hide that. You don't want to disclose it. You don't want to report it. So that is what selective reporting. Here you might have seen red dot. These all are negative result, but actually when you send it for publication, or when you show, or you when you present it, you minimize it and you don't want to discuss, you don't want to disclose it, you don't want to report it. This is basically a selective reporting. Now here you can see what is this. It's a kind of biasness. because it is not fitting according to my culture, according to my perception. So you feel it should not be there, otherwise a lot of people will criticize you how you can have this kind of result, right? So as a researcher, it's your duty. You should not be a bias. You should ready to face all consequences. You should ready to face all critics. That is the beauty of research. So here you see what is the selective reporting bias. Selective reporting bias is when results from scientific research are deliberately not fully or accurately reported in order to suppress negative or undesirable findings. I hope this happens. Especially this happens when we talk about medical science. Pure science, this happens. They don't want to give you a negative picture. Or maybe social science. You study a particular phenomena, you study a particular community, and what happens in that community, that is maybe odd or maybe against our culture, may not fit to our culture. So you don't want to disclose that, you don't want to give this information. So the end result is that the findings are not reproducible because they have been skewed by bias during the analysis of writing stages. So we do like this. If we don't like this, what we'll do? We will feel that this is something wrong, so we should not disclose it. We should not write it. We should not talk about it because it is not as per our understanding or our perception. So selective reporting is one type of bias which undermines the integrity of academic research. It is a large contributor to the current response, this reproducibility crisis facing scientific publishing. So this is why something new you will not find in social science. Something people will criticize you will not see in social science, because in social science you become bit biased and you don't disclose the real information, right? Now comes to misrepresentation of data. Misrepresentation of data means incorrect information, improper information, false information, and statistical tools and techniques. With the help of statistical tools and techniques, for example, mean median mode. If you don't know where to use mean, where to use mode, where to use median, so this would be a kind of incorrect information. So it would be a kind of misrepresentation of data, and you wouldn't believe, instead when you use statistical tool and technique and you don't know in what perspective, in what context you supposed to use this, that would also fall into misrepresentation of data. Let me show you a beautiful video which will give us some kind of understanding. Let me just off it. Okay, now here you can see. Listen carefully, everybody. Very, very important one. So I hope this is clear to all that what is a lurking variable. It happens with all research. This happens with all research, right? uh, let me show you. Okay, so when you collect data, you know that okay, this data. Okay, sorry. So this data is basically one variable which is very important variable. And here you see in hospital A and B that when patient come to hospital A or B, uh, what kind of health they had. Health was very poor or it was good. So that lurking variables was missing. So you cannot see that and you cannot tell that this hospital is good or this hospital is bad. So here you need to, as a researcher, you need to understand these statistics, that you can organize data in different way, and that could leads to misrepresentation of data. So I hope this concept of misrepresentation of data is clear to all of you. So next time when you conduct a research, when you conduct this kind of work, make sure that whatever data you collect, the lurking variable, you need to understand that okay, this was the lurking variable which may affect your study. If you consider that, it will give you a right picture, and that would not be a misrepresentation of data. For more information, you can see these links and you can see this text also, right? So I hope this now we are done with second unit. Let me come back to you and see if you have any query.